Hey there, it's me, Lara, and today I want to talk about face reading. Not only to do with perhaps how I came about knowing and realizing I could read people's faces as well as other parts of the body, and by that I mean the hands, ladies. But just to let you know as well that I was writing for a magazine years ago called Paranormal Magazine here in the UK. And I came up with the idea of face reading for criminals then, which was a massive hit, massive success. And I thoroughly enjoyed doing it, so much so that I was, going to go into the prisons. I had to, write up a massive pile of documents in order to have access there. The manpower, of course, was huge. But I started to understand as well that we get different levels of criminals. Different people do different things. There's a sliding scale of perhaps you've got your criminal that perhaps steals money to your criminal that goes on and commits like a mass murder. It is an actual science, would you believe, of physiognomy. No, hang on, let's get this. Physiognomy. That's it, physiognomy. I always get my tongue twisted at that. Which is a scientific study of being able to read the face to predict the outcome of that person. For example, if you read them at a certain phase in life, whether you can predetermine what that person's going to turn out like or grow into. And it's through the face reading. I think I probably naturally did it all my life. To trade, I'm a medium. And I won the award for being the best medium in the UK, or the most spiritual female, because we're not allowed to call it that. And I would say right from the age of 4-year-old, I really could get whether it was to understand other people and how they were behaving towards me, I don't know, but I had an automatic understanding of reading certain aspects across the eyes, facial expressions, even down to the tone that they speak of, and my ability to be able to put it all together to determine, and get this, it's not just used for to ascertain criminals or to read their profile, but also you, as a boss, when you're employing somebody, you've got a CV, you've got probably a work history you can trace, but what about that person? Can you actually look at a person and go, yeah, that's the one? You don't need to see their resume, perhaps. You don't need to see other things, but just by how their face is reading, you could determine whether they're going to be successful in your company or not. Or perhaps even a new business associate that you want to know whether they're a good fit for you, or even a client. So we can probably use this type of science in order to actually get a gauge of multiple facets in life. Well, that's the way I look at it anyway. I kind of consider myself a bit like Sherlock Holmes in the way where and he's got his psychic Watson, of course. But the way, if you look at Benedict Cumberbatch, where his portrayal of Sherlock, and he homes in on certain things, he has the kind of mind and eye-brain coordination that homes in on certain aspects. They kind of jump out like a map. Some people are great at reading maps, of course. And I can be really good at reading maps, but probably not as good as face reading, let me tell you. So by doing that, it kind of is like a Sherlock Holmes. It's kind of like I can go into a scenario and immediately my eye and brain has picked out certain things that's jumped out. All right, and it's like a sum where it puts it all together and it equals 2, like an answer, of that sum. And I can get a gauge of how people are, and also what motivated them or motivates them to drive them to do what they do. Because, like they say, knowledge isn't power until you action. It's what you do with that knowledge that creates the power. And I feel that in life, it's certainly served me well. I've certainly made, a cracking business out of doing that as a consultant to not only the police force, to certain divisions of the police force, but to even down to using it in the stock market, which is probably pretty interesting, but we're getting a little bit off topic here. To me, the face is split into certain regions. You've got the forehead, you've got your brows, you've got your eyes, the nose, the shape of your nose, the position of your nose in relation to your ears. Because even though maybe a lot of people don't talk about ears, ears are important too. The shape of the back of the head, for example, and proportion as well. You can often see or I can, you can see even emotional stuff go off the face, go across the face. If you're really fast, if you've got a very fast eye-brain coordination, then I can match it up with certain aspects that to me look very obvious in the face. And, you know, like I've said, I have used it in different areas, but let's take, like, say, even the eyebrows. And the eyebrows are a big commodity right now. You know, you get eyebrow makeup. It's gone past the eyebrow pencil, wouldn't you think? It's gone past that. And now, eyebrows actually have their own spotlight on their own. You know, so if you blank out, what if we could just blank out everything on the face and just had the eyebrows? Right, the shape of the eyebrows, the contour of them, the spacing between the eyebrows and the eye socket as well. They all say things. They all have a language and a communication of that to me. Kind of like learning French, if you get me. The eyes, for example, the window to the soul, you know, aren't they the first thing that you see in a person and notice in a person? And what if the communication from those eyes, you were able to ascertain pretty much within, you know, a few seconds, if not a couple of minutes. The intensity from the eyes, the energy that comes from it as well. And I think that if you look at some pictures, depending on the type of person they are, you can actually start to see that even eyes are a different shape. Because of course we've got two different sides to our faces, right? We've got very few people are actually symmetrical, aren't they, where everything is a mirror image. We'd all look, if you put a mirror up to our face, we'd all look completely different if we saw ourselves with exactly this one side the same on the other side. The spacing of the nose as well, the length of the nose, the actual structure of it, it all says something. So really I wanted to give you, you know, some information about a couple of bits on you. I wanted you to kind of follow this journey with me as we kind of drive our way and navigate our way through learning ultimately to discover more about ourselves, about yourself. I marvel every day at the power of the human spirit, right? I love to see people where they start from and where they end up like on multiple different levels, and sometimes even the growth and the glow and the energy that comes from them whilst they're doing that. Anyway, enough about that just now. I have thoroughly enjoyed doing this. It's just a little taster video there, but I thought I'd kind of put something down so that you kind of could see where I was coming from. I'm looking forward to doing some live chats along the way, getting the cards out, doing some readings, and also taking a look at certain profiles, facial profiles, to break down and actually, you know, begin to extract information from their profile in order to give an answer to the sum, an explanation as to how they ended up where they are. So do feel free to message me. Let me know if there's a particular person you would like to have profiled, you know, that's well known enough that everybody can relate to who you're talking about. And until then, bye-bye for now.